Hello, everyone. Can you hear me, guys? Can you please type anything in the chat so I could just understand that you can hear me well? Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me, guys? Thank you. Thank you for your reactions, guys. Thank you. Thank you for joining our today's webinar. My name is Dimitri, and I'm head of product growth at Skyvia. On the webinar, I'm so delighted to show you the best practices of Salesforce integrations using Skyvia code-free data platform. Guys, please let me know, do you see my presentation? Perfect, cool. Before we proceed to the demonstration that we promised you at the very beginning, let me briefly introduce us as a company. So Skyvia is a product of a software company named Devart, which has been operating since 1997. We developed and launched more than 100 of software products in the fields of data connectivity, productivity, database management, and data services. All these products are helping developers and other technical experts automate their daily routine, deliver faster, and deliver better. We're proud that dozens of our best customers are on the list of Fortune 100 and Fortune 500, such as AT&T, Boeing, Pfizer, Toyota, SpaceX. Well, you can find a full list on the Word's website. Our today's webinar will uncover the true power of Salesforce integrations delivered by a single platform. So every Salesforce user will tell you that the platform works better when it's connected to other corporate systems. Of course, Salesforce natively supports quite a few system integrations, but for a true corporate integration setting, you'll definitely need something more advanced and robust. You'll need automated data pipelines. The data pipelines are usually delivered by an ELT or an ETL process. ELT stands for extract, transform, and load. It's also often called as warehousing. ETL, in its turn, allows reorganizing or transforming data before loading it somewhere. ELT and ETL processes offer a wide range of benefits. With advanced integration pipelines, you can connect your Salesforce instance with a wide range of enterprise software, create no-code data pipelines without a need to involve programming resources. Skyvia has a friendly UI, as you know, and allowing citizen integrators to build complex integration logic. And of course, run and administer integrations as separately and secured without a risk to harm neighboring pipelines. The most common integration use cases around Salesforce are 360-degree customer overview, which helps better understand your customers on all stages of their customer journey, from marketing at the lead generation stage to post-sales customer service. If you want to understand your customers, you need to consolidate all of their information into a single customer profile. So business process automation is when change happens on the side of other corporate app, like, I don't know, ERP, and this change is then reflected in Salesforce and vice versa. Usually such data pipelines include lead conversion data, orders, invoices, and other financial data. The most widespread apps here would be Stripe, Square, QuickBooks, FreshBooks, Zoho Books, and ERPs, of course, cloud apps and cloud and on-prem databases. On-prem databases can be accessed via agent. So if your local firewall doesn't allow you to open your local database to the internet, you can download Skyvia's agent and then use it as a man-in-the-middle solution and connect to your local database. Data analysis often comes with a data visualization, of course, with the right ETL and ELT platform. And actually, I include Skyvia to the list of the right ELT and ETL platforms. You can move data into repositories such as Amazon Redshift, Google BigQuery, Snowflake, SQL Server, of course, MySQL, Postgres, MariaDB, Oracle, and others. You can find the full list of all the connectors and databases we support on our website. So Salesforce is a single source of truth. This works for those of you who use Salesforce only, meaning that Salesforce is the only or the main CRM in your organization. Most of the information about your leads and customers is already in Salesforce. So if you need certain records to be regularly updated, you can just import the needed data from other sources to Salesforce. This can be any data, any database from your stack, ERP, email, marketing, I don't know, corporate chats, or some other data that is not natively collected by Salesforce and stored in Salesforce. Salesforce to Salesforce integration. For those of you who represent small businesses, it may sound pretty weird, as you may think, why would I need more than one Salesforce org? The thing is that large enterprises may have multiple Salesforce orgs because they have a few different businesses under one parent company, or because they are in M&A process, or they just need to collaborate with other companies on a big project. I'll run a poll, so please pick up one or a few use cases that are relevant for your company now. Your contribution, by the way, would be much appreciated. Okay. All these use cases can be covered by Skyvia's integration product, and the integration is just a part of a value you can get from the whole Skyvia platform. I think you might be interested to learn about all the Skyvia's products. So I guess it's a high time we move to the demonstration itself. In the demo, I'll show you what product or configuration of tools you need to take in order to solve the cases I mentioned earlier. Okay, let me switch to the platform itself. Okay, cool. And by the way, I'm here today with our technical expert, Sergey. He'll take a bow once I finish with the demonstration, and he would gladly answer any technical related question that you might have. Feel free to post the questions as comments in the webinar chat or in the Q&A section in the Zoom. And I also brought to this webinar a colleague of mine, Paul, who will, assist me in case connection fails or something goes wrong with the internet. Anything happens, and anything may happen. So as you can see, there are actually 4 products on the platform: Data Integration, Query, Connect, and Backup. So let's start from the Backup. The Backup product was designed to easily and automatically back up not only your Salesforce data, but also data from other cloud apps of your stack. I mean, other CRMs, accounting tools, ERPs, e-commerce, project management tools, and so on. You can see the full list of all the apps we support in the Backup here. It's a perfect tool that can create snapshots of the tables from your cloud app and carefully store them until you need recovery. I would like to mention the top reasons why our customers actually subscribe to Skyvia Backup. Some of them may sound relevant to your company. So first of all, it's a requirement of their corporate policy. When companies become mature enough, they start caring about their data security. Second, they want to get ISO certification or SOC audit. A corporate backup and recovery policy is a must to get green light here. They suffer from data loss. as usual, the reasons of corporate data loss are bad code, migration, human integration errors, malicious intent, and even cloud apps failure. You know, for instance, there is no CRM in the whole world that can give you 100% data security guarantee. Unfortunately, sometimes our customers tell us that they lost some or even all of their data because their cloud app, their CRM or other cloud app was down. I'm pretty sure you heard such news in the past. Other than that, we also recommend our integration product customers to make regular backups of their Salesforce data or other cloud app data before they run integration packages, so that if they made a mistake while configuring their package, they can quickly restore the data and then try again. And at the end of the day, I would say that the backup product is like health insurance. You never want to use it, but when something goes wrong, you're happy that you were so forward thinking back then. So let's talk about how the backup product works. Select the backup product here in the list. Then you can create your new connection. Connection to your Salesforce instance. Find Salesforce here, and then log in. You can log into production, sandbox, or custom environment. As authentication method, you can use auth 2.0, username and password. As you can see, we support auth connection, which is the most secure. I already have a connection to my test Salesforce account, so I can just find it here in the list. Now we're sending a query to Salesforce, our test Salesforce org, to return the full list of tables available. You can see the full list here. You can select all the tables, or you can select just one of them, and you can even dive deeper into details, and you can here create a filter condition for your backup package. You can, for instance, specify by which parameter Skyvia will filter records. For instance, I want to back up only the records that were created after 1st January this year. That's it. You can create even group conditions with and or logical operator, and you can create several of them and add conditions to them, which allows you to create pretty advanced filtering option for your backup package. You can see here in the left that you can uncheck certain columns if you don't want them to be included to your backup package. So we have just selected just one table account, and actually it's ready, meaning that this is all we needed to configure. We go to the next step. Here we can enable scheduling option. Backup can run automatically. It can run on certain day of the month, week, daily, or at some time frame. Then you configure the name for your that's it. Okay, the backup is ready. Once I hit save and then run, we'll start reading data from Salesforce account and then backing up this data to our Azure instance, which is physically located in California. But let me show you how it looks when you already have some backups created. I think this one. Yeah, we have some track record here. You can select you can select snapshots within a certain time frame, like this week, last 7 days, this month, so last 3 days, or even custom range. You can open any snapshot and see the real data inside. You can see that if there were any error while we were backing up your data, we will let you know about that. You can see how many tables failed and the reasons, because the reasons of the failure, it's pretty insightful. You can just go back and fix and then run the backup package again, and the errors can be various, like you didn't have proper permission to some table and so on and so forth. You can also extract the records in CSV file. You can export them by clicking this button, and you will download the file locally. You can open any table and see the real data, meaning in the table format. You can dive deeper into details and see all the results like this. You can see the owner ID, created by ID. You can restore, speaking from the restoration functionality perspective, you can restore a record, a table, or the whole snapshot. Let's say we want to restore this record. You can see that there is no need to, select the table to which you want to push this record to, map and everything. You just select the statement, the email statement, insert, update, or delete, and everything else will be done by Skyvia. Okay, I think we should move on to the Connect product. Connect is, in fact, an API as a service. Is an API as a service solution that can create an OData or SQL endpoint to your cloud app or a database. So let's start from the OData endpoint. In order to create your endpoint, just click OData, and you can see here that you can select one of the modes, simple one or advanced mode. Let's open the simple mode. We can see that I have here the full list of all the connections that I created in the past, where I can create a new right from the interface. We just hit Salesforce, and we'll start reading through their API. By the way, the most popular use case of using the Connect product with Salesforce by our customers are dashboarding and building data pipelines. You might probably know that the more data you have in your Salesforce instance, the heavier it will be, meaning such an instance will be working much slower than a new one. And moreover, the more data you have there, the higher monthly subscription bills will be. And as a rule, an organization doesn't need like 80% of their CRM data every day. Like around 20% is used for operational needs, and that's it. This means the biggest part of your monthly bills is paid for the data that actually doesn't bring you any business value. And Connect can help optimize this. Those of our customers who use Salesforce Connect subscription, they replicate legacy data to a local or a cloud database with the replication scenario of the integration product. And then they create an OData Connect endpoint, like I'm doing here now with Skyvia, so we could show this data inside their Salesforce instance. But of course, they create the endpoint to database, but I'm showing an example of a Salesforce instance. So as a result, you will be able to work with your remote data as if it's stored in your Salesforce instance. I mean, with the same feeling, because these records will be displayed in your Salesforce instance as external objects. We can create, again, account, for instance, then go to the next step. We can here configure security for our endpoint. We can add a user and specify the password for this user. And we can also specify the range of IP addresses from which users can get access to this endpoint. Then we go to the next step. We can select the OData version, 1, 2, 3, version 4, or just the last version, and the endpoint mode, read, write, and read only. So read only, of course, it's just for reading records, just for reading data from your source, but read write actually allows you to write data back to the source, meaning that you can change something on the Salesforce side, and this change will be reflected in the source in your database where you store your legacy Salesforce data. We just save endpoint and it's ready. you can copy this endpoint and paste it to the app that can consume OData endpoints. And then you will have the model here, the log. You can see how much traffic do you consume by a certain period. You can optimize your usage and so on and so forth. So I really encourage you to test out the Connect product. You can like for all the other subscriptions and products within Skyvia platform, you can go to account setting and enable trial period to any product, to any subscription of Skyvia. So let's go back to Connect. There's also an SQL endpoint. SQL endpoint is actually a perfect choice when you want to, for instance, build a dashboard in, let's say in Google Data Studio directly based on your Salesforce data. So of course you can build dashboard based on your database data, but I don't think you will need you will need a product like Connect for this, because you can select as a source quite a lot of different databases and depths and CSVs and so on. But with the Connect product, you can build dashboard in Google Data Studio directly based on your Salesforce data, and I can show it how it works. So as with the data, you just connect to your Salesforce instance. You can again configure security for your endpoint, specify the name for your endpoint, and actually it's again ready. We support a few API clients. This can be AutoNet, ODBC, or Google Data Studio. Just click Get Connector, and you are now redirected to Google Data Studio. What you need is to paste the endpoints URL to this section, then specify username and password if your endpoint was secured, if you configured security at the very beginning, like I showed you. And then you select the type, meaning you can build a custom query to return just certain records that correspond to certain SQL query, or we can return the whole table. I think the whole table would be the easiest option here. Okay, now we can see the full list of all the objects, the tables that I have on my test Salesforce account. We can select, let's say we select account, then we hit connect, and now we're displaying the account table inside Google Data Studio. If you need, you can change field types here or leave everything as is and just create report. So it's ready. Now my data from account table is now in Google Data Studio, and I can play around with this dashboard. I can visualize it in styling. I can add more dashboards using other dimension metrics and filters and so on and so forth. Okay, so the query. Let's move to the next product. It's a pretty simple. I mean, query. It's a pretty simple yet pretty powerful query builder. It allows you to build queries against a database or even your Salesforce tables directly. Let me show how it works. As you can see, we have two modes: SQL for those who know SQL, and query builder for semi-technical people, so to say. You can select Salesforce account here. Again, you can see the full list of all objects available. You can use drag and drop and execute the query and see the test records that we have in our test account. Or you can open account table and specify just certain columns that you want to include to your query. Let's say we want account name, email. Oh, I'm not sure we have emails, maybe phone number. let it be so. Then execute, and we will return just the results of this query, and you can even see it in SQL mode. And of course, you can build mass update and mass delete operation against both cloud apps and databases with the query product. You can also save this query. Let's name it webinar query. And then, given we supported an app in Google Spreadsheet, and you can just go to a Google Spreadsheet and return the result right inside the Google Spreadsheet. So we go to extensions, then you install our app, our add-on, go to gallery section. And here you can select the reference, connection. Okay, Salesforce just account 2, I guess. I already ran a few queries inside this Google Spreadsheet, so I think I have to find it like this. Oh, I think someone exceeded the API limits. Someone from testers exceeded the API limits for our Salesforce environment. But anyway, you can see that you can do this if you have enough API calls for today. You can return the results of this query right inside this Google Spreadsheet. And as well as for Google Spreadsheet, we also have an app for Excel. So this can be not only Google Spreadsheet, but Excel as well. Okay, I think now and we have to move on to the last but not the least product named Integration, which is actually a flagship product of Skyvia. So the Integration product has 6 different integration scenarios: replication, sync, export, import, data flow, and control flow. Every single one of them was designed for a different technical purpose. Let's start from the replication scenario. The main 2 use cases of utilizing the replication packages was Salesforce environment, Salesforce org by our customers are, of course, BI and reporting. In other words, data visualization. They just push records from their Salesforce to a data warehouse and then build analytics based on this data. The replication would be a perfect choice for business process automation. I mean, those use cases that I mentioned in my pitch deck, when you want to load your Salesforce data to a database or data warehouse so that you can later combine this data with data from your ERP, for example. And data analysis. You just replicate your Salesforce data to data warehouse, which you can later select as a source in your BI tool, in Tableau and Power BI and others. So it's pretty simple to configure your replication package. You select your connection. Now we're reading data through API. So we have just returned the full list of tables available. Again, like with the backup, we can select all the tables or just select a certain table and replicate just one of them. We can select the target connection to which we will be actually loading the data. So let's select Google Query as an example. Here we can see a few options. You can see that we have drop tables options. So this means if you have some tables already stored in your database or data warehouse, we can clean them. If you want to create foreign keys, we can do that for you. Moreover, if you want to create tables, we can again do that for you. No need to go to your database or data warehouse and write queries in order to create tables. And if you want to run your packages incrementally, you can select the option of incremental updates, and we will be loading only newly created records since the previous replication package run. So let's select, and by the way, if you select a few tables, say account, I don't know what else, maybe contacts. We will keep relations between these tables in the exact way as they are in your Salesforce org. And as well as like with the backup package, you can also create a filter condition and filter out certain records that you actually don't need to be replicated to your data warehouse or database with group condition. That's actually it as of how you can configure your replication package. You can schedule the packages so they can run automatically, so no need to log into your account and run them manually. You can configure scheduling option the way we will be running the packages on a certain day of the month, week, daily, or recur every few hours or even minutes on better pricing plans. So this can be near real-time data replication. So that's it for the replication package creation. It's ready. Once we hit save and then run, Skyvia will start reading data from our test Salesforce instance and writing it to the data warehouse. So if it takes some time, so I won't be wasting your time. So I guess we should move on to the next scenario, which is synchronization. The sync scenario allows you to configure a bidirectional data loading between cloud apps, databases, a cloud app, and a database. So actually, any direction is supported here. Use cases for sync: create an automated bidirectional data integration between different sources upon your business need. For example, we can sync subscribers of, let's say, MailChimp with contacts of Salesforce. So that once you have a new contact in Salesforce, it's automatically added to the subscribers list next time you run your sync package. As you may imagine, there can be quite a lot of business use cases that can be solved with the sync integration type. Or if you just want to sync, say, contact tables between two different Salesforce orgs, the synchronization package would also work. Therefore, the sync scenario would be a good choice for the Salesforce to Salesforce integration business use case I mentioned in the pitch deck. Of course, if you need it to be bidirectional, because this package works only bidirectionally. So the export package was designed for exporting data from cloud apps. Cloud apps and DBs to in a flat file of CSV format, and you can upload this file automatically to one of the supported file storages. I mean, this file storage is listed here, or you can download the file manually right in the browser. You'll have the result link with your file. So again, you select in order to configure your export package, you select your the source from which you want to export your data, and then select a target and create your first export task. There are two modes, simple and advanced mode. Advanced mode allows you to execute command, query, or run report. You can also compress the resulting CSV file, and you can also specify the target file name for the resulting CSV file. Let's select simple mode as an example and count table. Again, you can enable filter condition with groups and uncheck certain boxes if you don't need these columns to be included to your export package. You can save it and add more tasks to the same package if you need, or just leave one table here, just a count. Actually, that's it. We have just created an export package once we hit run, we'll start reading data from Salesforce and then forming the CSV file. And once the packages finishes, we will see the link to the resulting CSV file. Or, like I mentioned, you can automatically upload this file to one of the supported file storages. And again, like with the replication, you can also configure scheduling for your export packages. So CSV files here can serve as a universal, so to say, database. If I may name CSV file as a database, because there are quite a lot of old-fashioned ERP systems that has no native connection with modern CRMs or even integration tools. So you can just export records through CSV files, store them in a file storage, and then take these files from your ERP system and import to certain tables on the side of ERP. But there are also other use cases for the export package. Say you want to send certain data from your Salesforce org to a few different vendors. You can automate the process so that Skyvia will be creating the files in accordance with your requirement and then upload them to the file storage of your vendors. Okay, and finally, the import scenario. I would say from these four scenarios, import is the most advanced one. As a source type, import allows you to select a CSV file and upload it manually in the browser, or select file automatically from one of the supported file storages, or select data source. And as a data source, you can select a cloud app and a database. Let's say we want to write some data from the data warehouse, in my case, Google Query, to Salesforce. We just hit a new here, create a first task like we did was the export. Select the table. Then we go to the next step. Then we select the target table to which we want to import records, and then operation, insert, update, insert, or delete. As you can see, the fields with the same name are mapped automatically. If we fail to find a corresponding name, such columns must be mapped manually. Speaking from mapping perspective, we support column-to-column mapping, constant mapping, expression mapping that supports mathematical string, datetime function. You can write here and validate and preview. And target and source lookups. So as you can see, this is the T part of the ETL product that we have. So actually, we have quite a lot of customers that utilize the import package for building very complex integrations and transformations upon their business need. Import scenario, I would say, would be a perfect choice for business process automation for 360-degree customer overview, meaning if you want to write some data to Salesforce, you will, of course, need the import package. And Salesforce automation, if you need it to be integrated in one way, not bidirectional like with the sync. So we have two other scenarios, which are called data flow and control flow, and they are the latest scenarios that we have recently released from beta. Let's start from the data flow. I think like data flow and control flow together deserves a separate webinar, but I'll try to at least briefly present you these two solutions, describing what exactly they have in the configuration. So data flow allows you to create a much more complex integration task compared to import, meaning you can integrate multiple data sources, you can integrate multiple data sources and enable advanced data sources, advanced transformations on the way to a final destination. There are several types of data flow components: source, target, and transformation components. Each of these components can be considered as a separate block with its peculiarities and configurations that you need to arrange on the diagram, like this. Just drag and drop. Let's say we want two sources and then do something with them. Let's talk about the, maybe destinations. So it's just for demo purposes. I'll just show you how it works when you drag and drop them. Let's talk about the transformations. So split transformation components. Split is a component that that passes all the input records to each of its outputs. It has one input and can have any number of regular outputs, which are exact copies of the same input. Conditional split is a component that splits records into different outputs depending on the specified condition. Bufferizer is a component that caches input records and outputs them in batches of the specified size. To configure this component, you only need to specify the row count parameter, which determines the size of output batches. You can even place this component before a target component in order to send batches of the fixed size to it. This allows you to control the size of batches actually sent by a target component to the data source. Okay, then the row count is a component that counts the input rows and writes the result of data flow variable. It passes the input records to its output without any modification. To configure row count, you need to just select a variable and put the number of the rows to. Lookup. A lookup is a component that matches input records with records from another data source and adds columns to the matched records to the scope. Okay, then extend. Extend component adds calculated columns to input records. It allows you to add one or more columns values of which are calculated based on the input columns values and data flow variables. And then the value. So the value component selects a value, obtains a specified value calculated based on the values from input record, and assigns it to the specified variable. It can select the min, max, first or last value from all the processed records. Then we have also here parameters. Parameters allow you to store values between data flow execution. Like you can select type, specify name, and specify the value. You can create any number of parameters of any type in a data flow. Besides, for any parameter, a variable with the same name is automatically created in data flow. So results, the data flow can be complex and can load data into multiple destinations. Rows failed in one of the components may be rerouted to other components and succeed there. So long story short, data flow is more powerful integration scenario allowing to perform complex integration logic. And control flow in its turn is a scenario where you can run data flows in a certain logical sequence. Let's talk a bit about control flows components, just for you to better understand its functionality. Okay, start. Of course, this button starts the control flow. If we speak about the components, the if component allows you to specify a condition in your control flow and perform different actions depending on whether this condition is true or not. For example, a data flow which is executed in the current control flow may assign a number of processed rows in some variable, and you may need to perform certain actions depending on if any rows were successfully processed or not. So the parallel, this component allows you to perform different actions. To perform different actions in parallel in your control flow. For example, you may run several integration packages, data flows, or other actions in parallel. Try catch, this component allows performing error processing in the control flow if a component fails or an exception is thrown. It has two branches, actually try and catch. The component tries to execute its try branch. If an error happens or an execution is raised on its try branch, the execution of its branch stops, and instead of catch, branch is executed. The exception, this component allows you to trigger an error in your control flow if this component is triggered outside of the try batch or for try catch component. An exception stops control flow execution, and the control flow run is considered as failed with a specified error message. So we have also action here, and this component allows performing an arbitrary action against the specified connection, and so on and so forth. And actually, we're constantly adding new components to control flow, and we're creating new functionality for data flow. So just stay tuned and read our newsletters in order to see new updates on the control flow and data flow and new connectors. Just to realize which of the apps and which of new functionality you can utilize for your current stack. So I guess that's actually all I wanted to mention about Skyvia platform. If you have any questions, I think me or Sergey would gladly answer them. Okay, great work, Rolf. Thank you for these kind words. Can Skyvia also get data from Salesforce Marketing Cloud? Yes, when they are data extensions. We support Salesforce Marketing Cloud as well as CRM. So this is this part of Salesforce is also supported. Can you filter specific fields? Yeah, if I understand your question correctly, yes. Sergey, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, he asked probably about the backup. We can exclude certain fields from backup and as well as perform filters on the data in these fields if necessary.
Mm-hmm.
As for data extensions, yes, we support Salesforce Marketing Cloud data extensions. There are certain limitations around them, so they cannot be used in synchronization packages, etc. But most features are supported for them.
Thanks, Sergey.
As for MongoDB integrations, we cannot tell you the exact date when we support it.
We have been receiving such requests for quite a long time, and we are really thinking on how to support MongoDB, but as of today, we support only relational databases. And maybe one day in the future, we will support MongoDB as well. What happens if you restore a single record, chose insert, but the record already exists? Will you get an error or will it override the existing record?
Dmitry, I can answer
this
question. So if you select the insert operation in backup, we simply try to insert this record into Salesforce, and we don't even pass its ID. So it depends on Salesforce settings. If Salesforce allows duplicates, a duplicate will be created if a record still exists there. If Salesforce doesn't allow duplicates, so it depends on how processing such cases is configured on Salesforce side. So for some Salesforce organizations, the duplicates are not allowed, and you will get an error. For some, maybe it will, so the existing record will get overwritten depending on how Salesforce processes when you try to insert a duplicate record.
Great answer. Thanks for that. So the next one, does this Google Data Studio query update in real time or in static? Once you build your first endpoint, we will update data, right? Like as it is in your Salesforce or other source. But then every single time you open this dashboard, the data will be updated. And Sergey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess every 12 hours we update the Google Data Studio report, correct?
Dmitry, it depends on Google Data Studio. So Google Data Studio caches data for different periods of times depending on the connectors. And as far as I know, you can configure this period. We are just a connector side here. So whenever Google Data Studio queries fresh data from us, we will return the data that are available at this moment, the real-time data. Then Google Data Studio caches it, and depending on its settings, it refreshes data when depending on how it is configured.
Yeah, this makes sense to me. Next question, is there a direct import into IBM Cognos or possibly via CSV? As far as I know, we don't support IBM Cognos, but if it supports CSV as a source, I guess you can configure the import on their side. Yeah, anything
yes.
to add?
So as for the next question, how do we deal with data duplication and data sync as it's two-way sync? Our synchronization is designed for cases when the data are not synchronized completely before the first synchronization. So when there are no duplicate records that exist both in source and target. And you can just so it best suits for a case when one of the data sources is empty. If you need to run a one-way sync instead, you can use import for this instead of synchronization. Maybe Dmitry, let me share my screen and show.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I will start sharing my screen. Let me switch to the browser. Okay, so
you can see your screen.
Great. Can you?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So when importing data from a data source, let me select some connection. You can use data filtering. So let me select, for example, customers table. And here you can select whether to import all the record or only insert it, since the previous import run, or only updated, inserted, or both inserted and updated since the previous record run, the previous import run. Sorry, and here, for example, you can select the absurd operation and use absurd, so that in this case, only new and modified records will be loaded, and they will be absorted into Salesforce, depending on mapping specified. So in this way, this is pretty much a one-way sync, with the only difference that it doesn't delete the deleted records from Salesforce in this case. But every inserted and updated record in BigCommerce will be inserted or updated in Salesforce, respectively. So in this case, you can just use our import if you need one-way sync. And I think we missed one query regarding backup. Where is it? I also wanted to show. So when we restore, we'll that restore the related records as well. Our backup, so we restore selected records, so you can just easily navigate to the necessary record and open its details. On this details page, you can see all its related records. And you can simply select the record and all its related records and restore it as a one restore operation. In this case, you will restore all the related records and the relations between them will be restored. So you need to select all the related records that you want to restore and restore them in one restore operation. So you can continue and navigate, for example, to another account, select this account, select its related records, if any. This is our test account, so it doesn't have related records. But so like this, you can navigate between objects and select records that you need, and only after you select all the necessary record, you can restore them.
Thank you, Sergey.
Yes, so
sure.
Let's proceed to the next questions.
The question from Sergio regarding the replication package schedule. Is it good to run a replication every minute? It has happened to me that the replication freezes a few hours, and I only know that it's frozen because my users tell me that the information is not updated. Every minute, 20 to 30 seconds are replicated. It's not like it too much. You know, there are quite a lot of cases why a replication package as well as other packages might freeze. And it's all not always about because of some Skyvia's error or failure. So it happens sometimes that something went wrong on the side of the data source. But indeed, it happens sometimes that some packages may be queued. It happens at the beginning of on morning hours in US time, like at 8 a.m. sharp, 9 a.m. sharp, at the beginning of every hour in the morning, because we have millions of packages and tasks run at the same time. And we are now planning to release a new service for those of our users who want their packages to be performed once per minute. I mean, no matter when exactly you launch them. And we plan to add this feature to a custom enterprise plan, enterprise pricing plan, which will be calculated as additional service to those of our customers that want something extra. Can Skyvia use Pardot as a source or destination? No, as of now, Sergey, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't support Pardot.
No, we don't.
But yeah, I think I'll pass this inquiry to our development team so that they could consider your request and in the product roadmap. Okay, kudos to your answer, Sergey. Great, thanks.
Yeah, so next question is it possible to import data to Salesforce from Dynamics 365 CRM? Yes, sure. It is possible. Moreover, we have a template package in Gallery. So let me quickly type it.
There's a misprint. Yeah.
Yes. So we can use a template package from our gallery where some of the mapping is already configured. You can see mapping for which objects is already available in the template, and you can select the necessary connections, of course, and then map. I'm not sure if I have valid Dynamics connection.
Right.
Let's check it.
Maybe one of them as well. Let's just try.
Yes. So no, probably it is not a valid connection. Yes. So
anyway, I think the concept is pretty clear. You can select
yes
from the gallery and then connect to your Dynamics and Salesforce instance and then run the imports.
Oh no, of course. I'm not sure which one of them is valid and if any is valid for now.
It's okay, Sergey. I think
yes,
it's okay.
I can show it for now, but
the answer is yes. Possible.
yes, sure, it is possible, and we even have a template to do it.
Thank you. And the next question from Jim. Are there any best practices when using Skyvia with Tableau CRM where most data is in Salesforce and Excel, OneDrive?
Well, for example, you can load data from Salesforce and from Excel to some data warehouse like Redshift or BigQuery and connect Tableau to this data warehouse, and our Skyvia can keep data in sync, so it can replicate Salesforce data to the database and keep it in sync automatically. And as for CSV, you can also configure an automatic import of CSVs to this database and even use timestamps if files are exported to OneDrive automatically. So like this, probably.
Thank you, Sergey. Question from Ronald. Very impressive, but the biggest obstacle I see in implementing such apps is the high license fee per user. If you have several hundred of thousands of users, this becomes unaffordable. We don't charge for users, so you can use as many users as you have in your org, unlike most of our competitors. So we don't charge extra for your users. So even if you have we have customers who have more than 6,000 of users in one Salesforce org. So I think
yes,
this is going to be good news for you, Ronald.
Yes, we charge per records loaded per month, so not and for frequency of your automated operations, not for per users.
Okay, so the next question, can we specify our own backup destination, such as our own AWS rather than the default? Unfortunately, as of now, in current version of our backup solution, you can store the snapshots only on our own Azure instance located in West California. Maybe in the future, we will add option of selecting a certain storage. But in the meantime, if you like, you can, for instance, specify you can use integration product instead of backup, and you can back up your records in CSV files, for instance, and you can export them locally and store on your FTP or SFTP server or Google Drive or whatever destination would be. Or yes, you can create a replication and archive your data. So you can connect your Salesforce and then connect to some local, I don't know, SQL server and archive a snapshot, but still a snapshot of your data. Or you can create a few different replication packages to several databases and then store data archives there.
Yes, we support Amazon S3 as a destination for CSV files. So if you want, you can export data to CSV to your Amazon web services. So then, if necessary, you can use import to import them back into Salesforce.
Yeah, so this is going to work like a restoration operation, but with the power of integration product rather than the backup. So as a value, you can get this, but not with the backup product yet, but with the integration product, you can get this value. So the question from Igor, what about data streaming into BI tools?
So
you mean about streaming, but maybe, yeah.
As for Data Studio, we support a direct Data Studio connector. As for other BI tools, you can either use OData endpoints if these tools support OData, and in this case, they will have a real-time access to the corresponding data sources via our OData endpoints.
As far as I recall, Tableau and Power BI support OData as a source. So yeah, this you can try this with these two BI tools.
Yes, or we offer an alternative approach of replicating cloud data to a database and then linking your BI tools directly to this database.
Yeah,
So
or data warehouse, because quite a lot of BI tools, and especially Tableau and Power BI. I mean, the most popular ones, they support quite a lot of different databases and data warehouses, and even CSV files. So you can use even CSV files made by Skyvia in order to update your data in BI tools. Okay, next question from Christy. I asked some questions in the Q&A panel, which might be a bit more specific. Could someone follow up? Yeah, sure. Once we finish with the chat, we will move on to the Q&A. Is there an issue connecting to Salesforce databases regarding the new Salesforce MFA process they are rolling out? I haven't heard of any problems with this, Sergey.
I haven't heard about this either. Not sure about this, so they can ask developers if they know of any specifics.
Yeah, but I think like the usual authenticated method through auth connection still works perfectly, and nothing is gonna go wrong with this. At least they, guys from Salesforce would have informed us about this.
Okay.
Next, Christy, my questions can be reached out. Okay, sure. Okay, Christy, we will send an answer to your question to your email. Sergey, thank you. Currently have professional, but if I understood correctly, the change to avoid the replication from being queued will be only available in enterprise. Yeah, it will be available in the new version of the enterprise pricing plan, which will be designed pretty soon. And then this new enterprise plan will be much more configurable. So you can specify how many records you need per month, how many, how frequently you want to load your data. So if you have any ideas around going to enterprise and custom pricing, just let us know. Send us an email to sales@skyvia.com. Can you talk about the Salesforce API consumption? Yeah, Sergey, could you please elaborate a bit on the batch sizes and everything you would like to?
We have a very good article in our documentation specific on Salesforce API consumption. So it would be easier to read this article.
Yeah, can you please pass it right to the chat so guys could see?
Yes, I'll post it in chat. So perfect. Yeah, we covered exactly this topic.
So I guess wouldn't have any open question in the chat. So I think
yes, there are also questions and answers.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Q&A. Okay, let's discuss Christy's question, even if she already maybe she has left already, but maybe other guys would like to know the answer to this question. I have a value from Stripe coming in with cents 16,162, and my expression dividing it by 100 just cuts off the cents instead of moving the decimal. I can use the modular to get the cents, but how can I get a number for a Salesforce currency field, which is in dollars, in one field? I assume this can figure out an expression to get it. Sergey, any ideas?
No, unfortunately, I cannot advise about it. So we need more details. First of all, both data sources from which you load data, and which fields and this expression. Because we cannot analyze it just like this. So we need to know the expression and mapping, so which objects are mapped and which fields are mapped. Yeah.
The next question from Krista is there a way to make a source lookup optional? Right now, if nothing is found, it fails those rows.
Yes, there is a, let me find some package that can be used. Okay. Quickly configure it. So if we select source lookup, by the way, can you still see my screen, right?
Yes, yes, we can.
So here is set now the options. You can select set now and no match found. In this way, we just provide the empty value if we don't find the record by the lookup. What are the next questions?
The next question from Christy again are restating my question. For an import, is there a way to make a target lookup optional right now if nothing is found because the source is blank? It fails those rows, for example, pulling in a coupon code and trying to match to the related Salesforce record, but not all records have coupons.
Yes, so these options are applicable both to source and target lookups. So in the same way, you can do it for target lookup. If the corresponding field that you map allows nulls, so you can just insert null into it. Okay.
And the next question from Arden, regarding importing to Salesforce, is there already a setting to choose the number of records per batch? I guess Sergey have just
no, currently there is no way to select to specify batch size, and batch size but in target can be unpredictable actually. So depending on how the data are processed before loading them to Salesforce, depending on the settings you set up, lookups, etc., batch size can be different. However, so in data flows, we have a bufferizer component. So if you use data flow integration, then you can add bufferizer component before the target and specify batch size there. So in this way, you can define batch size, but currently only in data flow and in control flows that use data flows. So like this.
Thank you, Sergey. We have another one question in the chat. Does Skyvia support subscribe to Salesforce streaming API event bus?
As far as I know, no. Currently, we don't support streaming API.
But thank you for this question. I guess I'll also pass this to our development team. Okay, I guess, Sergey, we don't have any unanswered questions left. Well, thank you, everyone, for attending our today's webinar. Thank you, Sergey. Thank you, Paul. Okay, yeah, we have another one question from Mario. No, that's not a question. Yeah, thank you too for attending the webinar. So we'll keep you posted regarding the next topics of our next webinars. And by the way, if you have any suggestions of what kind of topic you would like us to cover during the next webinars, please let us know. Maybe you want some popular use cases to be shown. So please let us know and send us an email to sales@skyvia.com.